Namaste. In our continued bliss to enjoy Sri Krishna and Sri Krishna's names in Srimad Bhagavad Geetha, we are in another episode of Naama Geetha. This episode is going to talk a very, very important aspect, an aspect that we all are part of it, we all use it, we all live by it. Time, right? So that is what we are going to look at it. What is the concept of time is what we are going to learn, and we are going to learn from Sri Krishna himself. That is about this episode. And just to do a quick recap, Arjuna has been, we are in the 11th chapter, the Vishwarupa chapter. So Arjuna has been going through varied emotions and experience through this chapter. He seeks Sri Krishna's blessings to show himself, to show Krishna in his true form. Sri Krishna grants that request, gives him the divine vision, Divya Shakshish, and shows himself in the Vishwarupa form. On seeing that Vishwarupa form, actually Arjuna has trembled as we saw it, and he requests Sri Krishna to come back in his usual form of 4 arms. In the process, Arjuna realizes that he is Vishnu, that is, he is Sarva-Vyapi, he is Deva Vara, he is the Lord of Lords, he is the Supreme, and all these things he also asks Sri Krishna, who are you? So it is a complete emotions which are very different. One stage he requests Sri Krishna to show himself. On seeing he is bewildered. Then he realizes Sarva-Vyapi, but also questions, who are you? So the multiple things that goes around Sri Arjuna in this chapter. And now Krishna himself says that he is going to reveal something very important. But before that, Arjuna had asked Sri Krishna, because in the form of what you call the supreme form of Vishwarupa, he also sees something terrible, where he sees flames, he sees a lot of people go inside Krishna, he sees joy, the kind of fire that he can't even withstand, Pralayagni as they say. So a lot of things happens, and he looks more of destruction within quotes. And that is the kind of impression that Arjuna also is getting while he is also worshipping Sri Krishna. So now Arjuna is confused in a state as to who Krishna is. So that is the time he says Devavara. Now he says he is supreme of all lords, but still there is some questions about destruction, because we all know, Arjuna knows much closer, that Sri Krishna is everything when it comes to Srishti, Sthiti and say Laya. What is Laya? The immersion of being oneness with Sri Krishna himself. So Srishti, we all know, Krishna is the purpose of creator, he is the creator, he is the purpose of everything, which we saw in various aspects of Bhagavad Gita. Sthiti, of course, he is the protector, and Arjuna is an epitome to see how Sri Krishna is protecting him, Pandavas and everybody. And now he is seeing a completely different form, that he sees everybody merging with Sri Krishna, but in a very ferocious form. So that is why he is confused, and this is where Arjuna is going to be revealed a truth by Sri Krishna himself. Now here Krishna is not revealing the truth just to Arjuna, to all of us. So let's go to the sloka now.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Kalosmi lokakshayakrit pravrittaha Lokan samahartumiha pravrittaha Rite pitvam na bhavishyanti sarve Eva sthitha pratyanikeshu yoddaha.
It's time, 11:32. I'm not talking about the time, 11 hours 32, 11th chapter, 32nd sloka, which mentions about time. Time is the most important concept for all of us to know, because everything and anything is related to a time. You buy an ordinary thing, let's say buy a kilo of vegetables somewhere, it has a time by which you have to use it. You buy a car, you buy a medicine, you buy a mobile phone, everything has got a time by which it expires. So there is always, everything is measured by time, and that concept of time is what we are going to enjoy in this episode. We all know, we all love, we enjoy curd, the yogurt. How does it happen? A bottle of milk and a small portion of curd, they are independent, they come together to create another bottle of curd. But we know that these two join to make the curd, but it does happen immediately. There is an element of time. Normally overnight we keep it so that we get the fresh curd the next morning. The baby is conceived. Is it born immediately? It takes its own sweet time of 9 months before the baby is delivered. We all sow seeds and that the seed becomes plant, plant becomes tree, tree starts giving fruits. Does it happen immediately? It has a course of time to complete it. All of us and everything that goes through a time is very important to note that time is a critical factor and an important factor in all these things. We want everything immediately, but everybody says patience is required. It's instead of patience, you take time, you put in the time. You need to put in your efforts for today so that you wait for your time and reap the benefits. All these things, underlying fact is only that you do with the faith in Sri Krishna. So everything is about time and time and time. And here in the 11th chapter, 32nd sloka, Sri Krishna says, Kalosmi, that I am time. That's what he is saying. So it's very important, and it is time to start respecting time as Sri Krishna, and more importantly, know Sri Krishna is the time. And how do we define time? Time is one who keeps count of what is happening and one who ensures that time is done, the effect is taken out. For example, we all know our Jivatma is taking a birth in the body, and this body has a time to come first. So moment the Jivatma that I am born, somebody says, okay, Anand is born on this day at this time. And from then the countdown starts for my life, and when lifetime ends, the time ends. Somebody is again in control of this, says, okay, your lifetime is over in this body, I am taking this Jivatma out of this body. Who is doing that? Is Sri Krishna. One who defines the time, one who keeps control of the time, and who keeps all the objects within the control of time is Kaala, Sri Krishna himself. And this is told by Sri Krishna himself, Kalosmi, that I am Kaala. So that is very important to know, that this concept of time, the Kala Chakra, that we saw the example in the seeds growing into a plant, into a tree, to a fruit, fruit gives seeds and it goes through a cycle. And this time is not limited to trees and plants and cars and you and I, but also to the Devas and the Rishis and the Brahma himself. There is somebody who is controlling all of this, and beyond this is the Kala, that is Sri Krishna. So that is very important to know from this sloka, 11th chapter, 32nd sloka, that Sri Krishna is the time. So Kalosmi says Krishna, and Arjuna is actually seeing destruction within quotes. And we saw that it is Srishti, Sthiti and Layam. Layam is where everybody gets immersed into Sri Krishna, is all controlled by Sri Krishna. So does this mean he is destroying everything? Actually not. Just like as a mother would want a very high energy child to go home and sleep for some time so that it regains energy so that the child can play next day to better. So that is what exactly Sri Krishna does to all Jivatma. After some period, he takes everybody inside them and then releases them back with some fresh energy. This destruction was even quoted by Oppenheimer, the father of atomic bomb, when he was interviewed after the Nagasaki Hiroshima, saying, how do you feel after the first bomb? And Oppenheimer says first bomb in current times, but he quotes 11th chapter, 32nd sloka to say the concept of time and destruction has been there much, much beyond ourselves. So Westerners are learning, have learnt from us, from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, to take their lives forward. So that important is what this particular sloka, to understand that Sri Krishna is time. There's an interesting conversation happens which is quoted in Kathopanishad, where Nachiketas and Yamadharma is having a conversation. Now, we always welcome Devas, we of course will welcome Rama and Krishna. Are we ready to welcome Yamadharma? Now, very important to note the full name, Yamadharma. He is going to live and do his duty by dharmic ways. So that is how he is going to be, and they are having a conversation. In this context, Nachiketas is asking the Yamadharma that, are you the lord of death or everything? Are you controlling everything? Then he says, he gives a beautiful analogy. As in a plate, you have a whole cooked food ready and waiting, and you keep eating, you serve it to Krishna. And Sri Krishna is having the bhojan and giving it, the prasad is eating. And just as we look for a pickle, Yamadharma says, Krishna also uses Yamadharma as a pickle, and he swallows him also at the end, and he is the ultimate Kala. So what Yamadharma here implies to Nachiketa here is, though he is regarded the position as Lord of Death, he clearly says it is Sri Krishna who controls even Yamadharma here. So that is what is important to understand. An interesting parallel in the next sloka that we will see, 11th chapter, 33rd sloka, is Krishna will be actually talking to Arjuna and says, Nimitta Karanam Bhava Sabya Sachin. That's what he uses the word. Now again he reminds Arjuna that you are a tool in my hand, nimitta karanam. You have been given a responsibility by me. That's what he says. And that's what exactly Yamadharma tells in Kathopanishad to Nachiketas, that I am only nimitta karanam, Krishna controls me. And another interesting thing in the 11th chapter, 33rd sloka is Nimitta Karanam Bhava Savyasachin. That's very important to note. While he is telling Arjuna that you are under my command, you are just a tool in my hand, he also uses the word Savyasachin to pat Arjuna on the back, because Savyasachin means ambidextrous. Arjuna's valor is well known. One of his important aspects of his valor is he can use both his hands effortlessly and seamlessly to shower rows of arrows across anywhere. And that ambidextrous quality, we know that there are some people who can use both the natural hand and the other hand very easily. Arjuna does this in a war field. He can face a war with both hands, showering arrows, and arrows not one or two, showering as if the kind of clouds coming in and pouring rains coming out of a cloud, rainy cloud is what it will come in. So, and Krishna here is so sweet and benevolent. He is the supreme. He doesn't have to say that, but he still pats Arjuna with the term Savyasachin, says, I respect your valor too. So that how this is very important to note, that Sri Krishna is the time, Sri Krishna controls the time, and he is everything. We all face challenging times around us, either at home, either at work, or in the environment. There can be negative things coming around, there could be plagues or diseases going around, but just don't worry, because he is Krishna, who has even the Lord of Death, Mrityur. He is even, king of everything, including the Lord of Death. So why do you have to worry? Nothing will happen as long as we are closer to Sri Krishna. And this is what Swami Desikan, in one of his works, Kamasikashtagam, says, Tvai rakshadi rakshakai kimanyaihi, Tvaicha rakshadi rakshakai kimanyaihi, which means, if you decide to protect me, hey Krishna, nobody can stop it. But if you decide not to protect me, hey Krishna, nobody can save me. That's what he says, Tvai rakshadi rakshakai kimanyahi, Tvaicha rakshadi rakshakai kimanyahi. Let's remember this, Sri Krishna is our only savior at all times. Let's hold on to him by his divine feet and be blessed always. Namaste.
குறைஞ்சபட்சம் 20 நொடிகளாவது சோப்பு போட்டு கைகளை கழுவுறத உறுதி செய்யுங்க. நீங்க முழுமையான வைரஸ் நாசினியை பயன்படுத்துறத உறுதி செய்யுங்க. அது சோப்பு.
மாதவா அச்சுதா கிருஷ்ணா ஹரே ரிஷிகேஷா கேசவா கோவிந்தா வாசுதேவா பகவன் ஜனார்தனா